All right, so you want to understand how pro sports really work as a business. And get this, it's a lot like software companies.
Interesting.
Yeah, today we're diving deep on insights from the founder and CEO of Monumental Sports and Entertainment.
The company behind the Capitals, Wizards, and Mystics.
Exactly. So get ready, because we're about to see how those slam dunks and hat tricks
Translate into subscriptions and recurring revenue.
Yep, you heard that right.
It really is a fascinating business model.
So,
These teams are a lot like SaaS giants. Think like Oracle or Salesforce.
oh, wow.
They
Okay.
figured out a way to build a business
Okay.
that thrives on a dedicated and passionate fan base.
So help me wrap my head around this. When I think software, I think predictable income.
Right.
But how does that work when a team's performance can be, well, unpredictable?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's where the brilliance of this model comes in.
Okay.
Pro sports teams, especially those like monumental sports, they build what's called a revenue flywheel.
Uh-huh.
And it's designed to withstand those ups and downs.
So you're saying it's not just about winning championships.
Winning definitely helps, but there's a lot more to it.
Okay, what else is there?
So think of it like this. You've got your media deals, these long-term contracts with national and local broadcasters. They provide a stable base.
And those usually last?
Often they stretch a decade or two, sometimes even longer.
Wow, so they lock in revenue for like a generation.
Exactly. And get this. The local deals usually have a built-in 3 to 5% annual increase.
Oh, wow. So even with inflation,
It's a pretty sweet deal.
that is a pretty sweet deal.
Yeah.
But what happens if viewership habits change? Like if everyone cuts the cord and just goes streaming only?
Yeah. So that's the big challenge these teams are dealing with now.
Okay.
And it's something we'll dive into a little bit later.
Okay.
But even with those potential shifts, the core principle is still the same. You need to secure a stable and predictable income stream.
Got it. So that's one piece of the puzzle.
Oh.
What else keeps this revenue flywheels spinning?
Next, you got your season ticket holders. They're your diehards.
Yeah.
Think of them as the subscribers in the SaaS analogy.
Okay, so even if, let's say, the Wizards have a rough season,
Right.
those fans are still going to pay for those expensive seats.
You'd be surprised. The CEO actually revealed that even in their less successful seasons, the Wizards see a 70 to 80% renewal rate.
Wow.
And when the Capitals are on fire, that jumps to 90, 95%.
So win or lose, fans are committed. I get it. But it can't just be tickets and TV deals, right? There's got to be more.
You're sharp. You're absolutely right. There's more. Let's talk market exclusivity.
Okay.
Monumental Sports, they benefit hugely from being the only NBA and NHL team in a market of 10 million people.
Wow.
That's a lot of eyeballs and wallets with nowhere else to go for pro basketball or hockey.
But wouldn't that make a team less motivated to improve? Like, if fans have nowhere else to go,
Right.
does the pressure to win really matter?
That's a great point, and it speaks to the delicate balance teams have to strike. They need to capitalize on that market power, but they also can't take their fans for granted.
Right.
Even the most diehard fan might eventually lose interest if the product on the court or ice consistently disappoints.
Yeah, for sure. So market dominance, it's like a double-edged sword. What I'm hearing is it's not as simple as just build a winning team and make more money.
Right.
There's a complex interplay of factors here.
Yeah.
What else should we consider when we look at this business model?
One thing that's often overlooked is the secondary ticket market.
Oh, you mean like,
Sites like StubHub and SeatGeek,
yeah.
those actually help teams understand the true demand and how to set pricing.
Wait, so when I resell my ticket,
Yeah.
I'm actually helping the team. It's not just some random fan-to-fan transaction.
Not at all. Teams are actually tracking that data.
Wow.
They see what prices fans are willing to pay and use that info to refine their own pricing strategies.
Huh? So it's like,
It's a win-win for everyone involved. The fan gets some money back, the buyer gets a ticket, and the team gets valuable market data.
that's really interesting. I never thought about it that way. And I bet franchise valuations play a role in all of this too, right?
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. All these factors, the revenue streams, the market size, and the team's brand strength all contribute to how much a franchise is worth.
Okay.
It's a complex formula, but the more stable and diversified the revenue streams, the stronger the brand and the bigger the market.
Right.
The higher the valuation.
Which is why teams in major cities with dedicated fan bases
Exactly.
can be worth billions of dollars.
Billions with a B.
Wow. Okay, so we've established that this business model is really built for the long haul.
It is.
It's about creating a system that can weather the inevitable ups and downs of wins and losses.
Right.
But does winning actually matter in this equation?
That is the question every fan asks, right? Let's
Yeah.
take a look at the Capitals and Wizards as examples.
Okay.
The Caps have been a consistently competitive team, playoff contenders year after year.
Right.
They even snagged the Stanley Cup back in 2018.
I remember that. It was amazing. And I bet those championship years created a massive boost, not just in morale, but in revenue too, right?
Absolutely. The Capitals saw a surge in merchandise sales. Ticket prices on the secondary market went through the roof, and corporate sponsors were lining up to partner with a winning team.
So winning does translate to a tangible financial impact.
Big time.
Okay, I get that. What about a team that's, let's say, on a different trajectory,
Okay.
like the Wizards? They've had their share of rebuilding years. How does that impact their bottom line?
It's actually fascinating. While they haven't reached those same heights of success as the Capitals,
Right.
the Wizards still maintain a remarkably loyal fan base.
Wow.
Even without a championship in recent history, their season ticket renewal rates remain really strong.
So even when the team isn't bringing home the trophy, that core fan base sticks around. It seems like a testament to the power of true fandom. But is that enough to keep the business afloat?
It's a crucial factor for sure, but it's not the whole story. Remember those long-term media deals and that market exclusivity we talked about earlier?
Yeah.
Those provide a safety net, a consistent revenue stream that helps buffer against the fluctuations of on-court performance.
So it's like a balancing act.
Yeah.
The passion of the fan base keeps the energy alive,
Uh-huh.
while the business model provides the stability to navigate the inevitable dips in performance.
Exactly. And it highlights something the CEO of Monumental Sports emphasized. A pure focus on profit wouldn't be enough to sustain a team through those challenging periods. There has to be a genuine love for the game.
You know, it reminds me of when insert a short personal anecdote about a time your favorite team had a disappointing season, but you remained a fan. It really solidified for me that it's about more than just winning. It's about being part of something bigger.
It's that emotional connection that makes sports so unique, and it's something that savvy owners understand and cultivate. They know that winning is important, but it's not the only thing that drives fan loyalty and ultimately business success.
So where does that leave us? We've got this model that seems built to withstand the test of time.
Yeah.
But the media landscape is changing so rapidly, and technology is opening up all sorts of new possibilities.
Yeah.
How do you see these trends impacting the business of pro sports in the future?
That's the million-dollar question. Streaming services are challenging the dominance of traditional broadcasters, and the rise of virtual reality offers fans entirely new ways to experience the game.
Oh yeah, like imagine a world where fans can attend games from anywhere in the world just by putting on a VR headset and feeling like they're courtside.
Exactly.
Would that change the value proposition of those expensive season tickets?
It's definitely a disruption that teams need to be prepared for. They need to find ways to integrate these technologies to enhance the fan experience both in person and virtually.
So it's not just about reacting to these changes, it's about actively shaping them.
Exactly. The teams that can successfully blend their traditional strengths, those passionate fan bases, those strong business models with these emerging technologies, will be the ones who define the future of sports.
So it's about evolving the business model, but also about understanding how fandom itself is evolving in this digital age.
Absolutely. The teams that can connect with fans on a deeper level, who can create those meaningful experiences, regardless of the platform, they'll be the ones who thrive.
This has been incredibly insightful. We went from comparing sports teams to software companies to pondering the future of fandom in a digital age. What a journey.
It's been a deep dive into a world that's much more complex and nuanced than many people realize.
And as we wrap up, what's the key takeaway you want our listener to walk away with?
I think it's this. Pro sports, for all the excitement and entertainment they provide, are businesses. And they operate on sophisticated models designed to weather the inevitable storms. But at the heart of it all is a passion for the game, a connection between teams and fans that transcends wins and losses.
It's that human element that makes this such a captivating industry. It makes you think about what it means to be a fan in the future, right? Like, will virtual experiences ever really capture that energy of being in the stadium, feeling the roar of the crowd?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can technology replicate or even enhance those raw emotions that make us love live events? Or will it create something entirely new, like a different kind of fan experience that we can't even imagine yet?
Yeah, it seems like teams are walking a tightrope,
Right.
trying to innovate and embrace all the possibilities of technology.
Yeah.
But also not wanting to lose that magic of the in-person connection. What do you think? Will virtual experiences ever fully replace the thrill of being there live?
To be honest, I don't think anyone really knows the answer right now. It's like this fascinating experiment that's happening in real time. We're seeing teams experiment with virtual fan zones, augmented reality experiences, personalized streaming options. It's pretty cool.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so it's almost like they're trying to create a hybrid model, blending the best of both worlds.
Exactly.
The accessibility and personalization of digital with the raw energy of a live event. But will fans buy into it?
That's the key. In the end, it's the fans who will decide what the future of sports fandom looks like. Their preferences, their engagement, their willingness to embrace these new experiences, that's what will really shape the direction of the industry.
So it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
Teams can offer all this new technology, all these innovative ways to engage fans, but it's really up to the fans to decide what works, what resonates, what really enhances their experience.
That's what makes it so exciting, though.
Okay.
It's not a static landscape. It's this constant interplay between the teams, the fans, and technology, all pushing each other forward, shaping the future of sports in ways we can only begin to imagine.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
We went from comparing sports teams to software giants, to dissecting their revenue models, to
Yeah.
even exploring the evolving landscape of fandom in this digital age.
It's been quite a deep dive, and I think we've only just scratched the surface.
So as our listener continues to follow their favorite teams, what's a one thing you want them to remember from our conversation today?
I think the most important thing is to remember that professional sports, even with all the passion and competition, are businesses.
Right.
And they're smart, savvy businesses at that. They're constantly adapting, innovating, and looking for new ways to connect with fans and deeper, more meaningful ways.
And maybe, next time you're watching a game,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see it through a new lens. You'll appreciate not just the athleticism,
Of course.
but also the intricate business strategies and all the technological innovations
Yeah,
that are at work behind the scenes.
exactly. And who knows, maybe you'll be the one to come up with the next big idea that changes how we experience sports. The future of fandom is, in a lot of ways, still unwritten, and that's pretty exciting.
It certainly is. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of pro sports. We'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration.
Yeah, and it's like they're almost creating a new business model too, right?
Yeah.
It's not just the fan experience that's changing.
Right. How we think about the business of sports has to evolve as well.
So how do you see teams navigating this? What are some of the strategies they're using to adapt?
Well, one thing we're seeing is a lot more emphasis on direct-to-consumer relationships. Teams are launching their own streaming platforms, creating exclusive content, and finding ways to engage directly with their fans.
So they're kind of cutting out the middleman, like the traditional broadcasters and networks.
In some ways, yes. It gives them more control over their brand, their messaging, and their revenue streams.
But doesn't that create a risk too? I mean, if you alienate those big media partners, could you end up losing a significant chunk of your audience?
It's definitely a delicate balance. Teams need to find ways to work with both traditional media and these new digital platforms.
So kind of like a hybrid approach. Exactly. It's about leveraging the strengths of both worlds to reach the widest possible audience.
And it seems like data is becoming increasingly important too, right?
Absolutely. Teams are using data analytics to understand fan behavior, personalize marketing messages, and even make decisions about player acquisitions.
So it's not just about scouting talent on the field anymore. It's about scouting fans online too.
Right. Teams are realizing that understanding their fans, what they want, what they're passionate about, is just as important as understanding their players.
So it's like this whole new layer of strategy and analysis has been added to the game.
It's almost like a whole new game in itself.
But ultimately, it doesn't all come down to the fans. Like if they don't buy into these new experiences, these new ways of engaging with the sport, then it won't matter how much data you collect or how sophisticated your business model is.
You hit the nail on the head. The fans are the heart and soul of pro sports. They're the ones who drive the passion, the excitement, and ultimately the revenue.
So teams need to find ways to keep them engaged, to keep them coming back for more, whether it's in person, online, or through some hybrid experience that we haven't even imagined yet.
Exactly. The future of pro sports is about finding that sweet spot, that balance between tradition and innovation, between business savvy and genuine passion for the game.
And I think that's what makes it such a fascinating industry to follow. It's constantly evolving, constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
And who knows what the next decade will bring? Maybe we'll be watching holographic games from our living rooms. Maybe we'll have personalized AI assistants that provide real-time commentary and analysis.
Or maybe we'll all be attending games in the
And the
metaverse.
possibilities are endless, and that's what makes it so exciting.
Well, I think we've given our listeners a lot to think about today. We've explored the business model of pro sports, we've talked about the challenges and opportunities presented by new technologies, and we've even pondered the future of fandom itself.
It's been a really insightful conversation.
It has. And I want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive. I think we've all learned a lot.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our listeners, we hope you've enjoyed this exploration into the world of pro sports. We'll see you next time for another fascinating deep dive.